Hi, this is Matt from tracyandmatt.co.uk and for unboxings.com, and here inside this box I have the LG Watchphone, or the LG GD910, much coveted handset, I suppose you'd call it, watch or phone, or watch phone. But here inside the box we have the GD910 itself, right in the middle there. We can have a look at that in a bit more detail in just a second. Just quickly take a look at the accessories. So we have a holder, which is your kind of your sync and charge caddy or cradle, and how that works is you basically place the watch inside this holder and place down almost like a a paperclip type, crocodile clip type thing. So that actually just holds that in place. So that will actually charge up, and then we have a connector there, so we can actually sync and charge that. Transfer music to and from the watch, and charge up the watch handset with that cradle. The cable for that is a standard USB to this sort of proprietary LG connector there. That plugs in, so you can plug into your PC. You then have this splitter cable, which has what looks like a micro USB and a proprietary connector on it, and then another connector. Quite what that does, I'm not 100% sure. Possibly for charging, possibly for synchronization, but comment on that later. Then we have the Bluetooth headset, which is pretty much essential when using the Watchphone. Unless you want to use speakerphone continuously and everybody to know your business, you're going to want to use the Bluetooth headset. The Bluetooth headset, incidentally, is quite small. It is fairly light. It does have this long arm on it. You could use another Bluetooth headset if you wanted to, but this is the one that's supplied, which does have a volume control and an on-off switch, and another connector there for actually charging up. Presumably that's partly what this other cable is for. And last of all, in this side we have this little tool, which I'll talk about in just a second. We have the charger, which has that proprietary style connector, which then plugs into the base so that we can charge that up. And then we have another one of these tools. Again, I'll talk about it in just a second. And then we have a series of little cables and little rubber grommets and things like that. These are for the Bluetooth headset, for the ear loop, and for actually going on the Bluetooth headset. So that's what that's all for. Now, the purpose of this little tool here is actually so that we can undo the back of the Watchphone there. We can actually just use that tool to unscrew the back, and what that's for is just under here is where the SIM card is placed, and so we actually unscrew the back to actually access the SIM card and obviously screw it back on. So this tool is actually so that we can unscrew that back cover more easily rather than just using a coin. So that's what that's for. And then, as you can see there's the connector. That's where the connector picks up on this charging station there. Obviously we've got a nice, fairly decent clasp there. It's sort of a leather, or certainly a leather effect strap, which is quite attractive, and it's a fairly secure clasp, like so. And then we have actual physical buttons on the outside. We have red and green kind of phone keys on top and bottom there, and then like a back and clear button in the centre. On the front we have a forward-facing camera, which is interesting, because we can actually do video calling with this handset stroke watch, which is quite cool. I have actually tried it out, and it's kind of quite amazing to actually do, and certainly will impress your friends when you actually call them and show them that you can speak to them on your Watchphone. Then we have a small display. It's 1.4 inch diagonal display. It's actually a capacitive touchscreen, which is extremely sensitive. I'm going to look at that in a bit more detail in just a second. But yeah, 1.4 inch diagonal. It's actually 176 by 220 pixels. When you consider how small that display is, it's reasonably high resolution for such a small display. So if I just pop that down and power on, and while I just wait for that to power up, let's just kill the lights then so that we can see the OS a bit better. And we'll just wait for that to start up. I have actually been using the Watchphone for about the last 24 hours or so, and I haven't as yet had to charge it. It came fully charged, and I haven't had to charge it so far, which I think is fairly impressive. I've used it to make a couple of video calls, I've sent a lot of text messages, called friends, that sort of thing, even played a bit of music, and I certainly haven't had to charge it yet, so battery life does seem to be reasonably good. So this is one of the many clocks that you can have on the display, and this is another one. What we do to unlock is we push the green button twice, and we go back to the clocks. We've got different clocks, so we can actually use the touch screen to gesture up and down, and we can see different types of display, different types of clocks, which is quite cool. So we can pick our favourite, and we stick with that one, and then we can go from left to right. So then we have settings for audio, so the speaker is on, the flight mode is off. I currently have a couple more bars of battery left. Again, as I say, been using it all day, and for the last 24 hours, haven't charged it yet. Still got 2 bars of battery there. Don't have any coverage here, unfortunately. So the signal reception isn't great on this, has to be said. I suppose that could be expected because, you know, there's not much room for an antenna, so it's possibly a little bit limited, but I don't get any coverage here, unfortunately. Then we have a calendar, and when we're in the calendar we can actually go up and down, so we can go to memo, we've got a calendar, and then we have a media player, which is actually very good. And if I actually just play that, press play, as you can see, got animated display, got a number of tracks on there, we can skip the tracks, and it is actually quite loud. We've got different volume controls there, obviously, and we can mute that, but it is quite good. We can make that quite loud, and that's quite good. We can pause that, and also we can come out of there, and pushing the button in the middle there takes us back to the menu. Then we have our sort of kind of main menu, so we've got contacts, we can have a look at our contacts. Don't have any set up, but you get the idea. We've got contacts, we can search, we've got speed dials, we've got information. Then we've got messaging, so we can have a look at text messages, and here are a couple of text messages that I've received a welcome from Orange, and then I've got some Sky News information on the text there, and then I can compose a new message, create message, and then I put in who I'm sending the message to, and then I can actually compose the message. As you can see, we've got like a T9 style display there, so we can tap away. Extremely sensitive touchscreen. I mean, my touch here is very, very light, and it's pretty accurate. I'm tapping away, I'm tapping complete rubbish, but it is extremely accurate in terms of where I'm touching on the screen. Quite impressive. So we can delete all of those, and we come back out of there, and we can switch between T9, predictive, capitals, do carriage turns, those sorts of things, as you pretty much expect with any handset that has a sort of a T9 display. But you get the idea of how that works. We'll actually quit that, exit without saving, and we'll come back out of messages. Then we've got various utilities, got multimedia, and we can look at there's music already on here. It's all been transferred, so we can look at various albums. We've got some sample LG music on here, and we can look at recently played, which takes us back into the media player. And we can come back out of that, and we can look at the camera. We can actually load the camera up, as you can see there. The camera is working. Doesn't work very well in low light, but it is an extremely small camera and a fairly low light conditions here. But you do get the idea. The camera is reasonable. It does require a fair amount of light, but it's not bad, and you consider how small it is, and the fact that it's a watch phone is quite impressive. And then you've got my folders, so you've got a selection of my images that you've already taken pictures of and saved. Obviously you could upload them, and you've got my sounds, again audio that you've uploaded, and others, and then you can actually do a voice recorder, and a series of tools. In tools we've got things like calculator, converter, world clock, stopwatch and Orange Plus. And if we pop back out of there, finally we've got the settings, and we can change settings for Bluetooth, profiles, the screen, the phone, and call settings, connectivity and so on. Different profiles can be set up. So we have normal, silent, outdoor and flight mode, and in normal you can actually change the settings. So I've got sound alert is on and the vibrating alert is on. I set up the ringtones and all that sort of stuff in here. Pretty standard stuff that you'd expect to see on pretty much any other handset or phone. Obviously this being a watch phone, it's quite cool. So those are the main features. I can then make a video call or a voice call. If I go into voice call, I can then just tap the number as you expect with any other touchscreen phone, and I can make the call. Obviously I can't do that now. I can then save that number, I could look up the number, I could look up my contacts from there too. Back up out of there. And then we are back to the clock. So they are the key features of the LG GD910 watch phone. As I say, I've been using it for about the last 24 hours. I think it's extremely cool. A couple of things to mention is a flash-based interface. There is a built-in 2 gig of memory, which again I think is quite impressive for such a small, compact phone, effectively. 2 gig of memory, you can certainly upload plenty of MP3s. The fact that it comes with all the accessories, obviously including the Bluetooth headset, which you're pretty much going to need to use, is quite cool. It weighs 86 grams, however, which is pretty heavy. As you'd expect, there are other phones out there that are full-size phones that weigh, about 86 grams. So it is fairly heavy on the wrist. I'm used to fairly heavy watches. I wear quite large watches, so it's not something I've noticed. But if you've got a dainty arm, this is going to stand out like a sore thumb. Although that might be an advantage because at least your friends are going to notice. But that is the GD910. I think it's extremely cool. I've certainly enjoyed playing with it, and I wish I could get my hands on one to actually buy. They're about £500 from Orange at the moment. They are an Orange exclusive here in the UK. I think the stock is extremely limited, so I'd be surprised on launch day, which was today. I'd be surprised if you actually can still buy them. I would expect them to be out of stock by now. Hopefully more will come in, and hopefully I'll be able to get my hands on one. But let's say they are an exclusive to Orange here at the moment. So that's the LG GD910 watch phone in a nutshell. We'll have a little bit more for you on tracyandmatt.co.uk over the next couple of days. And if you're a fan of unboxing videos, check out the others that we have on unboxings.com.